Doomfist is one of the most fun heroes to play in Overwatch. Or, well, he used to be. Back when Doomfist was a DPS, he was designed to function as a fighting game character, comboing moves into crazy fights, and overall, was a mechanically complex and very fun hero to play. In Overwatch 2, he's still very fun, but has lost a lot of that mechanical allure. I love Doomfist in his Overwatch 2 state. But I feel that to achieve his full potential in terms of viability, counterability, and potential for fun, he needs a few changes, and in this video, I'm going to give a few suggestions on what I think would be the most healthy changes or additions to his kit. To start off with, let's look at Doom's passive and his primary fire. Now, his passive functions as a way to ensure that even when Doomfist doesn't get elims, he can get value from his abilities. The overhealth allows Doomfist to survive in situations where he shouldn't be able to, my personal favourite use being to slam away from a team, then turning and gaining a ton of overhealth. It's a very useful ability, but for the sake of my rework, I'm turning it down a little. Doom now gains only 30 overhealth from his abilities. While this does affect Doom's ability to outlast the enemy team in a lot of situations, it's a healthy trade, considering the changes to come. The next small change is to his primary fire. Doomfist's crappy little shotgun functions as a combo finisher and poking tool, helping to kill low health targets after a power punch, and as farming a little ult charge at a distance. It feels like a water gun half the time, however. And since it's a shotgun, and also considering the changes to come, it needs to have more impact than it currently has. Therefore, its reworked version gains an extra point of damage for each pellet, up to a total of 66 damage, with a slightly lower reload speed of 0.65 seconds per pellet. This just gives the ability a little more value than a cherry on top to one of Doomfist's combos. Now, onto the icon of Doomfist's kit, the Rocket Punch. High mobility or a decent stun with the option to upgrade it mid-fight as well. It's a very versatile ability, and a large chunk of the reason why I love playing Doomfist. The issue is, however, that it seems really weak for what it's described as. The Gauntlet has the power to level skyscrapers, but does a total of 50 damage with a fully charged punch? It should have more impact, with a slightly higher risk for much more reward. I'm a big fan of abilities carrying large weight in the game. To be clear, abilities that feel impactful. Great examples of this are Ana's Sleep Dart or Sombra's EMP. Doom's punch doesn't have a consistent oomph to it, like how it shows in his trailers. Therefore, I have a few changes that bring power back to Doom's kit, circling around his punch, giving it the power it deserves. Doom's punch now does up to 100 damage on impact, and up to 150 with a wall impact. This allows Doomfist to not only stun and severely damage tanks, but outright kill any 250 health or below hero with favourable geometry. This gives Doomfist the power he needs, and actually makes him live up to his own name. This is extremely powerful, but let me discuss the rest of the reworks before you decide it's too much. The other changes to Rocket Fist, to balance it out a little, and make it more singular target focused than multiple stun focused, is an increase in the charge up time, meaning it takes longer to fully charge and the Gauntlet can no longer hit multiple enemies in a cone. This addition to Doom's kit gives him power equal to his own lore, giving great impact to his abilities, while also forcing his player to be smarter in target picking, as he can no longer affect multiple enemies with one punch. Onto Doom's next ability, his Slam. In Overwatch 2, like his Rocket Punch, it's an extremely versatile ability. It functions as a high mobility tool, an engagement tool, a combo finisher for low health, and even a survival tool, as it can hit multiple enemies and get a ton of overhealth. However, it needs a few changes in my opinion, to separate it a little bit more from Winston's Leap and give it high power in exchange for less versatility. Doomfist is an aggressive hero, character and gameplay wise, and his abilities should follow that idea, and his current iteration of Slam is just a little too passive for his character. Therefore, I have a few changes. Doomfist Slam now does higher damage the further up it is activated from a minimum of 25 damage all the way up to 125 damage at max height. This is also coupled with a nerf to the ability's mobility, and it now no longer makes Doomfist fly in an arc, but rather glide always on a downwards incline instead. This ability still generates overhealth, but its focus is now on high damage with higher risk, exactly what Doomfist's character represents. This hit to his mobility may seem alarming, as Doom now has no easy way to gain height on his enemies, which makes this a good time to discuss his next ability. Doom's power block serves as a distraction for his enemies, and a way to survive accidentally overextending in large enemy ultimates. It provides Doom a refresher on his cooldowns, allowing him to hold out until Slam is available, or give his punch the ability to combo a squishy to death with a wall hit and a few shots. It's very useful, but doesn't fit Doom's character at all. Doom is aggressive, hostile, and calculating. His character in the lore wouldn't stand in front of a huge enemy ultimate and just hold his arm up, so neither should his character in-game. Furthermore, Doom is now in desperate need of mobility after how his rework hit his Slam. Therefore, I have a completely new and original ability for Doom, the Soaring Upper Punch. The Soaring Upper Punch allows Doom to displace his enemies with ease, gain height on his enemies, or finish a low health squishy, and give Doom a way out at the exact same time. It does a flat 50 damage, knocking up enemies in front of Doom and reducing their air control for a few seconds. On a 6-second cooldown, this ability allows Doom to have a little of that Street Fighter spirit back in his design, giving him high mobility, with no defensive options to balance out his kit and allow for counterplay. Instead of just CC, Doom now is vulnerable to high bursts of damage even more than before, forcing his player to think smartly about target picking, exactly how Doom's character in the lore thinks. It's a healthy change in my opinion. This completely original ability rounds out Doom's abilities in a way that Power Block didn't, and I think it's absolutely necessary to ensure he feels as impactful as his lore does. Now for Doom's ultimate. Essentially, a get out of jail free card, Meteor Strike allows Doom to fight ultra aggressively with no fear of death. He can hyper engage, then Meteor out, or use it to continue the tempo of the fight by taking out a squishy with the damage, or the free super punch. It's a very useful ability, and I think it just needs a few tweaks to reach its full power. Meteor Strike now does up to 200 damage to enemies close to the inner ring, with the 300 inner ring unchanged. The small slow is removed, replaced with a knockback effect, and the cast time is increased, up to a full second. These changes make Meteor Strike not as offensive as before. His reworked kit already fills that need, and instead makes it deal higher damage with a larger chance for the enemy to escape. The purpose of this ability is, at its core, an escape for Doom, and as such, this change simply allows it to fulfill that purpose, while making it a lot scarier for squishies who approach him at its end. The very last change to Doom is to reduce his HP down to 250 to account for his high mobility and incredible damage potential, and reduce the overall size of his hitbox. These changes altogether give Doom the niche he was originally designed for, and fulfills far better than his current iteration. I really like Tank Fist. He is extremely fun and very unique for a tank, especially with his potential for environmental kills. But I can't help but feel something is missing from his current iteration, and it's my hope that this rework gives Doom power in the areas he needs it, and overall, makes him play as his lord designed him to. In short, I want DPS Doom back so bad. I really miss him. I have a Doomfist-sized hole in my heart, and not even the One Punch Man collab can heal it. Doomfist mains, remember what they took from you. Never forget. Also subscribe.